All right, let's once again identify key pieces of information in this text. This says 40% of the shoes at Zumiez are Converse. There are 180 pairs of shoes at Zumiez. How many pairs are Converse? So once again, going back to Converse, and I'm going to box that question, how many pairs are Converse? So we're going to start with this first part, and then we'll address the second part because this is another part of the question. So first of all, 40% of the shoes at Zumiez are Converse. So I know 40% are Converse, and I know there's 180 pairs of shoes at Zumiez. So how many pairs are Converse? So as always, when we have these solving percent problems questions, we want to ask ourselves, are we trying to solve for a part or are we trying to solve for a whole? So in this case, I already know that there's 180 pairs of shoes at Zumiez, right? But I'm trying to find how many of these are Converse. And what I know about this is that 40% of these are Converse. And when I'm solving, my brain works a little bit different. I like to set this ratio up because I'm using the information that's given. And this is actually going to help me at the end check to make sure my work is correct, right? Because I set up a ratio to represent this. I have the unknown value, which is the box, out of 180 pairs of shoes, and that should be equal to 0.40, which I know is going to be 40%. Because in that case, that's the unit rate. I would move the decimal place 2 times, and that would give me 40%. So this is what I would come back to at the end to check to make sure my answer was correct. All right? So in the meantime, I asked myself, was I looking for a part or a whole? And I know I'm looking for a part. And we can reference back to our notes and just our general understanding of this. Anytime we're finding a part, do we use multiplication or division? When finding a part, we use multiplication because remember when it comes to percent problems, what we are going to do is we are going to multiply by that percent in order to get our answer. And remember, anytime we multiply by something smaller than 1, it's going to give us a smaller answer. So you guys have 2 ways of doing this. You can multiply by the fraction or the decimal. We have 180 is our total, and we're going to multiply by the fraction of 40% or the decimal of 40%. So we know that the fraction of 40% would be 40 over 100, right? We know that any percent is over 100. And in my opinion, that's the hard way because now we are working with fractions, but we can really easily turn that into a decimal. And we know when we do that division, we get 0.40 or 0.4. Same thing. I'm going to leave it as 0.40 for the purpose of seeing that percentage. And remember, the easy way to do this is also anytime we're converting a percentage to decimal, all we have to do is move the decimal place 1, 2 times to the left, and there it is. All right, so that should give us our solution here. But make sure to reference back over here, plug it in, and check to make sure it's actually correct and equivalent to 40%, which was given. And then from there, once we have that, we can answer the question of how many pairs of shoes are not Converse. So if we know how many are Converse, couldn't we take our total value of 180 and then subtract that value to get whatever our answer is that are not Converse? That's one way. Can anyone think of another way? Another way that you can do this is since you know that 40% are Converse, you would know the remaining are not Converse, right? So if 40% are Converse, what are the remaining that are not Converse? Well, we know this is out of 100%, right? So 60% would not be Converse. So another way you can do that is you can set it up just like we did over here. But of course, rather than using that 40%, you would now use the 60% to represent this value. So those are 2 strategies for you. And hopefully you can move on and solve and show me that you're prepared for your test.